have you heard enough about me, or is there more stuff you want to ask?
Oh, I enjoy listening to people talk. You should,
Well,
but I find this stuff interesting. So, look, you've got a bit of a history in cycling, don't you? You've ridden bikes for a long time. I was kind
it's
of because you've talked. I saw a little bit about that. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, you're fine. You're fine. I still remember learning how to ride my brother's bike when, back in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
But my family, we grew up in LA on the peninsula, and everything was geared towards the beach,
Mm-hmm.
um, which was fine. I really enjoyed that lifestyle. But my dad and my mom met in Berkeley, and they went and a lot and skied up here in the Sierras, and they gave that to us kids.
Mm-hmm.
My dad taught us how to ski, and we went and rented, wood skis. That's how old I am, and leather boots, leather lace-up boots, and he taught us how to do the basic stuff and to survive on our own, so to speak, on the slopes.
Yeah.
And he did that because he wanted to go ski himself, and he didn't want to have to babysit us.
Go on,
But
kids. Good luck. I'm gonna go do my own thing.
well, in some regards, yeah. Um, rope toes and rope toes and poma lifts, and then finally we upgraded to going to Mammoth Mountain and getting a chair ride up the lift. But we grew up traveling and camping and skiing, a lot of time on the beach. Really active life for a kid back in the 60s. And that was really wonderful. I wish that everybody could have that opportunity with their family and their children. We didn't start, speaking of that, my parents didn't start locking the front door until 1972,
Yeah.
something like that. And, the neighborhoods, we just run and go to our neighbor's house, and I could have breakfast at my house, and I could go to a neighbor's house and have breakfast there, and go to another neighbor's house and the same gig.
Yeah.
So it was a wonderful age to grow up in. But getting back to the topic, my skiing, I had friends that I grew up with, and they were exceptional athletes, and their parents skied as well, and we did a lot of trips as families together. And it was always trying to keep up with them,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't really understand what I needed to do. My dad was working most of the time, unless he was working at home or taking us somewhere to go vacation or visit family or something.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was never really taught about, physical fitness and exercise, because we ran amok all the time.
Always going somewhere, right?
Yeah. Like, what's that,
Yeah.
So when I got older, it was like, watching the Olympics go on. I was really enthralled with them when I was young, and I got to see Jean-Claude Keely, win the gold and the slalom and the downhill and whatnot. I said, wow, that's really neat. I need to do that, and then it wasn't until later on, after I saw, watched on television Franz Klammer do his downhill run to win the Olympics. It was like, oh my God, that's amazing athleticism to handle that.
Yeah.
And so I started reading about it, looking it up, and lo and behold, it was, I think Franz Klammer did more motorcycle riding up in the Alps or wherever he was from, that helped keep him fit. But Jean-Claude Keely, spring and summer, he was riding bicycles with a group. And so I finally got to the point in the early 80s, I was out of high school and fairly done with college. And I started riding, and I thought, well, I'll just, invest in a bike. And I had ridden, to and from school with bicycles and whatnot, but never really got into the idea of racing or anything like that. And part of the problem, I think, is like what you're dealing with, trying to bring people together in cycling. People don't understand what's out there. And
that's true.
When I grew up, you go to the Schwinn dealer, they didn't care that you saw the racing poster up there. They wanted to sell you, the expensive kid's bicycle.
Yeah.
And so you never knew that there were, cyclocross events or road events or anything like that anywhere, unless like your father or somebody like that was into it.
Right.
And I found it difficult because once I got into cycling, I started to look for magazines and newspapers and whatnot, because nobody would advertise anything. Nobody would show anything on TV or not. I mean, just absolutely void.
Yeah.
And, I ventured into studying the history of cycling in the United States. And that's the time I went back to college at UCSD in Carson City, California. And they had the Olympic velodrome there, the cement one. And so I said, well, heck, I'm going to get my permit and pay for some lessons and start riding on the thing. And then I had a friend from high school that actually had a track bike, and it was a 60 centimeter. I needed a 58, but I adjusted it enough to make it work for me.
Just move that seat down.
And it was so bad because I was just getting by the skin of my teeth, paying for college and working and trying to do this, that I bought my grandmother's Dodge 440 four-door, and that thing was so big I could put that bicycle. I didn't have to take the tires off or nothing. I just put it in the back seat.
That's perfect.
Yeah. So I used that for quite a while until I blew a head gasket, and then I just said, well, I'm just gonna ride my bike back and forth to school.
All Dodges are designed to go out by blowing a head gasket. That's just made to do work that way.
It was no fun.
I'm sure it wasn't.
Yeah, no.